Gentlemen of the press, welcome to this presser. It's the sharing of the results of a study we carried out as the Center for African Progress regarding the leadership of this county and the performance of the county on a number of metrics led by the economy, the status of the infrastructure that we have, and how Nairobians feel regarding where the county is headed. So it's a study we've done over the last 1 to 2 weeks, and we sampled 4,000 registered voters in the county who are distributed throughout the 17 constituencies and 5 wards. And we did that according to the number of registered voters in each of the constituencies and each of the wards. It was not uniform. So what we found out is Nairobians are not happy with the current leadership. Actually, 92% of them feel that the county is headed in the wrong direction. Only 6% feel that the current leadership is doing the right thing, and 2% are unsure. Some of the issues they raised include poor health facilities. They don't have staff. They don't have medicine. They talked about poor infrastructure. Anytime there is rain, there's flooding all over, meaning our drainage system is, worn out. It's old. What we have is what was left behind by the colonial, fellas who are here. So nothing has been done. And every single time there's just a very, very light shower, Nairobi floods everywhere. And the leadership of the county does not seem to be taking, any steps to rectify that. And then, of course, there is the issue of corruption at the county, whereby, according to Nairobians, every single month, there are reports of billions of money being lost from the county. Instead of the money going to, meeting the needs of the people, it goes to people's pockets, and they cannot see anything being done either by ESCC, DCI, or even the presidency. Because at some point, you expect the president to come in and say, corruption at the county has to stop. So they are very concerned. That's when 2% of them feel like the county is headed in the wrong direction. Now, obviously, when there are complaints, there have to be suggestions for solutions, and they feel that come 2027, a new sheriff has to come to town, a new leader, a new governor has to be elected. Now, the new sheriff who needs to come to town, according to them, should be someone who's determined to rectify, the mistakes that have been committed over the last so many years, because some of the problems they talked about are not as a result of the current leadership. They date back to the times when Nairobi was a city, not a county. Like infrastructure, is something that should have been dealt with maybe by Kidero or someone else, and they've been carried over. Yeah, so the candidates whose names came up include the former Member of Parliament for the Dagoretti South, Dennis Waweru, where there's James Gakuya from Embakasi North, there's Timo Wanyonyi of Westlands, there's Babu Owino of Embakasi East, and then, of course, there is the current governor himself. There is a small number of Nairobians who feel that the guy should be given a second chance to come back as governor. So Babu Owino led the survey or the study at 38%, followed closely by Dennis Waweru of former Member of Parliament, Dagoretti South, at that 1%. Sakaja gets 14%, which is not surprising given the number of Nairobians who feel that the county is headed in the wrong direction. 92% say Nairobi is headed in the wrong direction. Sakaja gets 14% support at the moment, meaning if the elections are held today, Sakaja cannot be re-elected as Nairobi County Governor. People are totally dissatisfied with his performance, and they don't want him to come back. And team Member of Parliament for Embakasi of Westlands gets 7%. James Gakuya of Embakasi North gets 6%. And like I said, it's too early. We still have two years to the elections in 2027, and we expect more candidates to come out, and things can change. A day in politics is a very long time, and so much can happen.
On a quick one, from the study,
yes,
what was your target age bracket?
Now, the 4,000 people who responded were distributed into 4 age sets. We had 18 to 26. we had 27 to 35, we had 36 to 44, and then 45 and above. Now, we had to focus so much on the below 25, actually 27 age group because of what we had in 2024. We saw what the Gen Zs did, and we felt like, from 18 to 27, that's why those guys are included. And they are very, very angry. They can't wait for 2027 to vote. Okay? And they were even willing to tell us what they feel about the national government, but because the study was for the county, let's just focus on that. So they're not willing to give the current governor a second chance. They want him out. Yes.
Maybe last one from me.
Yes.
If people are being elected based on scorecard,
yes,
why do the research prefer Babu Owino than Sakaja, who is now currently
the governor?
The governor.
Thank you. Now, it's not just the Center for African Progress which does studies. We have other companies, and these companies have been releasing performance metrics for members of parliament, and every single one of them has had Babu either at number 1 or number 2. Okay, and then they also know what this guy from Dagoretti South did when he was a member of parliament. Actually, he was doing very well in terms of sharing CDF. So Nairobians know, they have a record. Nowadays information is not restricted to the mainstream media. There's a lot of information Kenyans collect from online sources. So anytime there's a poll out there ranking, for example, members of parliament, they can see Ndindi Nyoro is doing very well, Babu Owino is doing very well. So they know this guy can easily make a good governor because he's doing very well as a member of parliament. Yeah, and it shows you the kind of commitment and passion these guys have, because even after Raila Odinga endorsed Sakaja, they still have come out and said, no, we are not listening to Mzee. Okay, we're still going for who? Owino or Dennis, like that. So it also marks the independence of voters as we move forward. We're going to move away from the culture of kingpins. You pick a kingpin, he endorses someone, and all these guys vote him like sheep. It's dying out. Today we have a presentation of a study which was carried out, of course, within the county of Nairobi, and it focuses on a number of issues affecting our county. As you know, we had an election in 2022 where we elected a governor alongside other officials. And over the last few days, we've had so many complaints from Nairobians because of so many reasons. There is economic suffering. Nairobi's infrastructure is in total disarray. And some of the projects which, of course, were claimed to have been implemented have turned out to be, failures. So we decided to carry out a study touching on so many issues. Number 1, political leadership. Number 2, the economic status of the county. And number 3, the status of infrastructure. So what we have here are the basic details of the county. Obviously, it's the largest county in terms of registered voters. We're talking about almost 2.5 million registered voters. And then, of course, in terms of GDP, because it's the commercial capital of the country, it has the largest GDP at US dollars 14.8 billion as of 2017. Obviously, by now, 2025, it's exploded. It's big. And obviously, of course, you guys know there's a study which was released by Bloomberg, an American-based, media company, which ranked Nairobi as at number 2 in terms of economic activity in the continent, in Africa. Population as of 2024 estimates, we are to 5.5 million. And obviously, it's the administrative and the political capital of our country. The county has 17 constituencies and 85 wards. So as we speak now, representation of the county in the National Assembly stands at 17 members of parliament. And in the county assembly, we have 5 members of the county assembly, of course, plus around 2025 nominated MCAs. So that is the structure of the leadership. And then now, when you look at the status of the county, you have to find out the feelings or sentiments of the Nairobians, or the people voted, or the residents of the county, as to where the county is headed. We were very shocked as we were conducting the study, because 92% of the people we talked to, that we were about 4,000, we're talking about 3,680, representing 92%, stated that they're not satisfied with the direction the county is taking. Now, when you look at the same metric going back to 2020, around 2020 what? I think 2019, that is just after Sonko had been elected. That number was a bit low. It's around 60% of Nairobians who are saying they were not satisfied with the performance of the governor, which means they were much better, in terms of the rating of the county compared to what we have now. So 92% think the county is headed in the wrong direction. Now only 6% think Nairobi is headed in the right direction, and of course 2% are a bit unsure. They don't know whether it's moving in the right direction or the wrong direction. So that is a very huge number. And just to let you know, it also represents what we gathered concerning the direction of the country, not just the county. Kenyans feel that the country is headed in the wrong direction. Actually, even supporters of the president also feel that in as much as they like him and they like what he's doing, the country is headed in the wrong direction. The number goes up to around 96%. When you look at now the number of Kenyans who feel like the country is headed in the wrong direction. So the numbers for the county are not any different from those ones of the country. That is the representation of that information, of course, on a pie chart. Now, the key factors which we were looking at in the study is how, Nairobians vote. Nairobians vote based on a number of issues. The first one is the manner in which a candidate presents himself or herself, the appeal of the candidate. So they look at the ability of a candidate to communicate. If you can stand before Nairobians and tell them, you discuss the issues, you express yourself in a clear way. And I think that is how the current governor was able to actually get elected, because he was a better speaker compared to that guy who is Polycarp Igathe. And then, of course, he appeared to be in a position to understand issues affecting Nairobians. Now, there's a very big difference between me being able to explain issues affecting my people and going ahead to follow through with solving the problems. So I think the governor was very good in explaining issues affecting Nairobians, but 2-3 years down the line, he's not able to do what? To tackle the issues. So candidate appeal. The second metric or second factor which motivates the manner in which Nairobians vote, now this according to what they were telling us in the study, is tribe. Now, unfortunately, the number of people willing to come out and say that they are driven by tribe to vote is very small. They shy away from saying, I'll vote for so and so because he's from my tribe or because he's, but that is a very, very serious factor. And it's just a very small number of people in the study who are willing to take responsibility and say, I'll vote for so and so because of tribe. But when they go to the polls, they look for a name which captures what? The tribal affiliation. It's unfortunate, but it's a truth we have to deal with. And that is why people end up looking for the so-called kingpins. Like, let's say I'm a Kisii and I want to become Nairobi governor, I have to seek the endorsement of Raila Odinga, for instance, in order for him to bring me what? Luo votes. And it's unfortunate that Kenyans are not willing to say, I'll be voting based on my tribe. But they go to the polls and do the exact same thing that they're ashamed of admitting. So the last one is the issue of bribe or cash incentives. We had a very small number of guys, especially the guys from the slums, who are shameless. They're open, they're truthful, and they say if the candidate who comes and gives me something small is the one I'll vote for. Now, that happens. We've seen candidates giving out cooking oil, clothes, and other, items during elections. And there are people who actually vote based on those things. Like, once you go ahead and give out money, some people will vote for you based off that. So these were the issues which were the key drivers in our study. And now, of course, in an ideal situation, we'd expect voters to vote based on performance. If it's a lead who has been in office maybe for 5 years, you come back, you present your scorecard. For example, if it's about infrastructure, you say, I was able to build road A, B, C, D. I was able to, stock hospital A, B, C, D with medicine and stuff like that, people were hired, then you mark and you make sure they voted, out based on the performance. That is an ideal situation, but we don't have that. This is what we have. And that is why we're complaining. We go ahead, we vote based on cash, tribe, and superficial appeals by the candidate. And then, after 5 years, we look at what they've done and we're disappointed. That goes back to the numbers we have here. 92% saying they're not satisfied with the direction the county is taking, meaning they did not focus on what really matters when they were listening to the candidates during the elections. It's very possible there was a candidate who could have delivered better than the current governor, but then, because of looking at superficial aspects of the candidates, they landed on the wrong candidates. So when you look at what we have now, there are a couple of guys who've come out and expressed interest in Nairobi County governorship. That is in 2027, assuming nothing happens. Of course, sometimes a candidate can be, a governor can be impeached. But most of the guys we spoke to are not of the opinion that the current governor can be impeached. They feel like he's very secure, being supported by the president, the former prime minister, So he has what it takes to remain in office until 2027. So impeachment is not something we are talking about. But we have a bunch of candidates who've come out and expressed interest in going for the position in 2027. So there's the Embakasi Member of Parliament, Embakasi East Member of Parliament, the Honorable Babu Owino. There's the former Member of Parliament for Dagoretti South, Dennis Waweru. We have the current governor, of course. He has said he's going to be defending his seat. And he's saying, bring it on. He's ready to face whoever wants to come, And then there is this guy, I think he's the Member of Parliament for Embakasi North, Bakuya. He's also expressed interest. And then there is the current Member of Parliament for Westlands, the Honorable Tim Wanyonyi. He has also said he's willing to go ahead and seek the position of governorship in Nairobi County. In fact, a few days ago, he was on he was on some radio station complaining that his party leader, Raila Odinga, made a mistake by endorsing the current governor. He said, of course, ODM as a party is full of talent. He does not understand why his party leader could endorse someone from another party. So he's ready to also seek the position. Now, we talked to 4,000 Nairobians, registered voters, and they felt like the best candidates to actually transform this county is Babu Owino at 38%. That is 1,520 respondents supporting Babu. Now, closely behind him is the Honorable Dennis Waweru at 31%. Now, the current governor, that is the most interesting score, it comes in at 14%. At 14%. And now that goes back to the question we were trying to actually find an answer to. How do you feel about the direction this county is taking? And as you saw, 92% said it's headed in the wrong direction. So that coincides with the 14% the current governor scores in our survey of 4,000 Nairobians, registered Nairobi voters who felt like he does not deserve to be re-elected as governor. Of course, because of poor performance. So Tim Wanyonyi comes in at number 4, 7%, Kakuya 6%, and then we have 4% undecided. Now, it's very interesting to see that such a small number of people undecided, and that points to the nature of our politics. People don't wait to look at what matters, issues. They look at aspects like tribe, who is reachable for handouts, and who is appealing, But then again, when you look at what the former prime minister has done, that is endorsing Sakaja, you'd expect Sakaja to be doing very well. Because the former prime minister, Raila Odinga, has a huge constituency. He used to have. According to what we got from the ground, those numbers have gone down. The kind of support he enjoys now is very small. There are people saying Mzee has done a good job, but we don't agree with him on what he's trying to do at this time. That is why actually so many ODM supporters still feel the best candidate to lead this county is the young man from Embakasi East. And given the exit of the former deputy president from government, we have some issues coming up, and there's a good portion of people who supported Sakaja who've abandoned him, and now they feel like someone else should do what? Should come in as governor instead of who? Sakaja. So those guys have abandoned the Jubilee bandwagon, and I think they're the ones who've done what? Shifted to Dennis and some to Gakuya here. So it's too early, of course. We're looking at slightly more than 2 years to the elections in 2027. So much is likely to happen. A day in politics is a long, long period. So we expect a lot to happen. That is the same data, of course. And that marks the end of the study. So the study itself has been done in an article form, and I'll share with you all the details plus some information on the people who responded, of course, to the extent that they allowed us to share their details. Okay, that one. Okay.
Now, on charity.
Yes, sir.
In 85 words, what was some of the methodology you were using in this study?